Hi, I am Tara. I am She of All Things About Transformation. I work through the modalities of massage therapy, yoga instruction, and transformational guidance coaching work with clients. And this video is about me assisting a longtime client in making some major life shifts with his family, his occupation, and where he is going to be living. I have known this client for many years, treated him as a massage client for many years. We developed a great rapport, and he took a little absence from receiving massage for quite a while. And about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, he came back and we deepened our work together. He started to engage with me about the laws of human energy. This man was very receptive and very curious. Curiosity is such a powerful tool when it comes to us making shifts in our own energy signatures, because curiosity gives us the ability to see other potentials for ourselves and also to see how other people's other potentials are playing out. So over the course of the time that we were working together in the past 12 or so months, he would come in with sort of a life situation that had occurred, and we would discuss, I would point out to him the energy of how it came to pass to be, or why he experienced the situation, based on his emotions, which created his energetic signature, and also based on the way energy in the world kind of interacts to catalyze his energetic signature to attract certain situations. And in his particular case, the reason he had actually stopped coming for treatments is because he had gone through a separation with his wife, his family moved to another state, and there was just a lot of transitions, which is what we thought on the surface. Actually, after we explored more deeply, we realized that we weren't in energetic alignment for those years, because I had been really raising my frequency and my vibration intentionally through my own personal practices and explorations, and he was in a very low place, and so we didn't match. And then as he sort of started to level up, and I have the spaciousness to receive a variety of energies, and my energy also, fluctuates as human energy does. We were a fit again, and really the connection was so keen and deep. And because I had these years of knowing him, and I understood his psychology, and I understood what what drives him, motivates him, compels him, it was easy for me to connect with the parts of him that were creating his circumstances. And then from there, we would sort of explore esoteric concepts, we would have great conversations, and eventually he was ready and receptive to learn about why it was imperative for him to move into some kind of meditative, self-nurturing practice, both, in the morning as a preset and in the evening as a wind down from his day. And I was able to give him some suggestions for practices that were going to be applicable in his actual lifestyle, because it does not work when we try to take on a practice that is so far off of our actual life living, day-to-day living, if it's too far off, it's unsustainable, and very few people will actually really adopt that kind of practice. But if we can bring the practice in a way that blends with our life as it already is, to me, that is the best path to success. And then when we are successful with the practices, as he has been for several months now, we start to see the effects of the practices in our being, in our disposition, ultimately in our vibration, and then in our circumstances and what we're attracting in the world. And this is exactly what happened for him. In the 3D, walking life that he was talking about, he was unsure if he wanted to leave the city where he lives because it's where his job was. His job was how he supported his family. This is where all his connections were. This is where his community is. All the reasons people are hesitant to leave a place. However, his family was living someplace 5 hours away. Every weekend he was driving to see his kids, and his ex-wife was having health issues that he knew that he had to step up and support her through because of his children. So he was feeling really torn. He wanted to be with his kids. He didn't want to miss out on their last years of, high school and being at home. And yet he felt very attached to his home, where he had been, where he was living, where his job was, and his job, and the security, right? So without the goal of solving the problem, but with the goal of nurturing himself. Oh, and he had the symptom of high blood pressure, even though he feels healthy, even though he is generally pretty level-headed, even though he is generally pretty fit, high blood pressure consistently. So there was sort of this, physical impetus to deal with his stress response and his blood pressure. And then there were these lingering decisions he felt like he needed to make but didn't have clarity on. So he's doing these practices, not really hoping to gain clarity or necessarily banking on his blood pressure evening out, but more so wanting to feel at ease in himself and set himself up well for his days so that he can mitigate and manage. So fast forward, he would come to me about once a month. Fast forward a month later, after having been assigned certain practices by me, he came back. He had total clarity about what he needed to do. He knew unequivocally that he needed to leave where his job was, and he needed to go to the place where his family was. And he knew that everything would work out. He was no longer worried, was he going to find a comparable position? Was he going to be able to support his family? Was he going to be killing all his connections in the place he had been living? All those things. He wasn't worried anymore. He had full clarity and faith that everything was going to work out. And in conjunction with that, his ex-wife, well, they weren't divorced, they were separated. All of a sudden, all of the things that she had been holding against him, that she had been exhibiting behaviors of and using as weapons against him for years in their marriage. And all the things that she had been refusing to do, like seek her own therapy and personal inner work healing, she started to shift. And all of a sudden she was saying the things that he had been wishing for her to say for years, you know, and her demeanor towards him had completely shifted. Her energy, he could feel her energy was different. So he came, you know, to me on his next appointment. He said that they were going to be trying to work out the relationship and work towards reconciliation, which was not something that was a goal of his. But he found his heart open to the idea because she had seemed to be changing to meet him. This is the law of change, leave, or die. When we change something about ourselves, the situations around us in our life the people, the situations, circumstances will also change to meet us where we're at. Or they will leave like he had left his relationship with me for a while because we weren't a match, or they will die. So he witnessed, without him asking her to change, without him pressing, without him, you know, imposing will in any way, shape, or form, he witnessed how his own energy shifting could elicit a change from somebody else. Wonderful. So then he comes back again for his final in-person session with me a couple days ago. And a work situation that had been brewing that he told me about probably over 6 months ago with a dysfunctional alcoholic co-worker who was actually his subordinate. This person effectively got himself fired by my client's supervisor. So my client no longer had to deal with him. He took this other coworker, took care of his own self by his own behavior, and my client didn't have to make any decision, didn't have to do any more campaigning, didn't have to do any more trying to prove his point to his supervisor, because it all organized around him. And while that person had been slinging some blame and other lower vibrational energies towards my client, all that did was solidify my client's reputation in his industry, in this local community, and garner a lot of support for him because he is known to be a stand-up person and somebody who's wonderful, you know, to engage with. So there was a lot of support rallied around him, which is an excellent, excellent way to leave a position. So he gets to leave this position on a high note with the support of all this local community and a lot of positive attention on him. And he's very excited. He feels calm about his move. He feels like he's got new tools to deal with his kids that he didn't have before because of his personal practices and his understandings of energy, and knowing that, you know, he's got this natural curiosity and will continue to learn. And he is excited to see how his relationship unfolds with his wife and what may come his way professionally. So I just feel so excited for this person, because watching him unfold into someone who understands how conducting our own energy can really end up, no longer are we navigating the world. We are now directing. We become the director. And that is it's such a gratifying experience when we're doing it with ease and a modicum of, well, for me the word would be grace, but perhaps it might be different for, for him. Instead of having to beat drums, instead of having to put up boundaries, these kinds of things, which are sometimes that's necessary in the 3D world, but so much can get done when we just take care of our own state of being, our own mindset, our vibration, when we do our practices, and when we understand how the laws of energy work, how they respond to us, and how we can engage with the energetic constructs of the world. So I feel like his story is worth telling. There is certainly going to be more to unfold for him. I hope that I get to continue to witness his journey in whatever part I can be helpful to him to assist his journey, because in truth, when I witness and assist someone else's journey, also I know that my own journey is assisted, and I know that we're doing a form of spiritual activism on the planet. As below, so above; as within, so without. So each time one of us steps a little bit closer to harmoniousness and empowerment, we bring all with us, even if it doesn't seem that way. I do believe it to be so. So if this has sparked some inspiration or curiosity in you, please feel free to reach out to me, because I love working with people like this. It is so gratifying to watch people step into a true empowerment and a state of existence in the world that they did not know was possible. Please reach out to me. If you got something from this, please, do all the things. Like it, comment, share it, rewatch it, whatever. And please watch my other videos, subscribe, get notifications. My videos are currently unedited. I don't do them on a schedule, so the best way to make sure that you see my videos when they come through is to actually subscribe so you get notified. So on that note, I will say thank you, namaste, bye.